It was an early Saturday noon. Charlie was home alone while watching some TV in his own room when suddenly his phone started ringing. He noticed the caller ID was from Max. Max was a close friend of his. He immediately picked up the phone and answered. "Hey, Charlie, what's up?" Not much, said Charlie. "Do you need something?" Yeah, I wanted to ask if you wanted to, hang out since I'm kind of bored at home. I'm also kind of bored. I mean, there's nothing else to do at home. I mean, being home alone is and nothing else to watch on some TV. So, yeah, I'm up for to hang out with you for a bit. I will pick you up at your home about, say, 10 minutes. Sure, I will be outside my home in 10 minutes now, right? Charlie had a license, but he didn't have his own car, but he was saving up for a car, of course. After after that, Max drove over to his house, picked him up. They decided to go to the mall, just maybe go to the arcade for a few hours, and then after that, grab something to eat. They did in fact go to the arcade for about 3 hours. After that, they went to the food court, just grabbed something to eat, and while they were eating, they were just talking about random stuff. When suddenly, Max asked Charlie something. Charlie, yeah? How is it between you and, Lillian? Oh, Lillian. It's going actually well, though. I mean, we have been together for about, a year, and actually, I'm quite happy to be with her. Really? Yeah. What do you ask? Um, Not to being seen to be rude, but what would you do if she was seeing someone else behind your back? That question took him a little bit off guard because Charlie had never even expected this to happen. She was actually asked him out during the third year of high school, about a year earlier. Well, I don't know, to be honest. Um, you know, it's something I haven't expected being asked, but if she did cheat on me, I would definitely broken up on her. Why do you ask? Well, you know, I don't know what to bring some bad news, but I actually saw Lillian at the school with Jonas. So, what about it? Well, I actually saw them in the school library, um, kissing. Wait, what? Yeah, this is not the first time. They have been doing it for I assume at least about um 3, 4 months. What do you mean? Are you serious? I'm afraid so, but do you have any particular evidence? Well, I have this, he said, and showed his phone of Lillian and Jonas kissing in the library. It was a video, a short one. Jonas was another friend of Charlie and Max. I can't believe it. Are you sure that's actually him and her? At first, Charlie was deniable to even consider that was even at at all. That is the fact. Jonas and Lillian. Lillian and Charlie have been dating for a little bit while now. He loves her so much. But after Max convinced him it was them, Charlie could not stop to believe it at first, but he couldn't deny it in the end. It was them. He was felt heartbroken, betrayed, and all that. Can you send me that to my phone as evidence? Yeah, sure, said Max. After that, They remained at the food court until they were finished and they drove home. But the next week, on Monday, Charlie was very devastated of all of this. But when he was in by his locker, he heard a voice behind him. Hey, Charlie, how are you? He immediately recognized the voice was to be Lillian. He took a deep breath and pretended to be as happy to see her. Oh, hi, Lillian. Bit more tired, but other than that, it's fine. Even though he wanted to yell at her about her cheating. Um, is something wrong? She could somehow sense that something was off about him. Well, there is one thing I want to ask you. Yeah? Was it? Um, have you been, you know, been what? Okay, I had to be blunt here. Have you been cheating on me? No? Why do you even ask that? Well, how about Jonas? That made her big eyes. She realized that he knew. What, what do you mean? Then he showed her the phone with the video. That's definitely you and Jonas. I know this is you because I can't deny it. What, what, how do you know, or at least find out? Well, Max showed me this to me. He was the one who told me. He filmed this off YouTube. And at the same moment, Jonas walked by and he said, Oh, hey, Jonas, do you know this? And he showed her the video again. That made his face pale white. I knew it. Lillian, it's done between us. We're over. And Jonas, it was nice to be your friend, but don't ever try to talk to me again. And Max knows also because he was the one who filmed this. So he and I would not want to talk to you again. So please, ever try to talk to us. Before Lillian could even say anything else, he just closed his locker and just left. She tried to yell out at him to stop so they could talk about this. But he just stopped and turned around and said, Lillian, like I said, we are done. I'm not going to take you back, no matter how much you try and beg me to do. You clearly don't love me anymore. If you want to be in if you want to be with Jonas, go ahead. I'm not stopping you. Especially when you broke my heart when you cheated on me in the school library kissing, he said loud enough. That made other students look at both Jonas and Lillian, who both looked so embarrassed that they had been caught red-handed. But Jonas tried to explain it was just. But then Charlie cut off and said, It's okay. If you like her, be with her. I don't even care anymore, he said and turned around. And he just left and he went to one of classes. During lunch break, he was just sitting by himself with Max and a girl named Hannah. Hannah was a friend of his, which Max introduced to him as a friend. She was having been informed about what happened between him and Lillian. She was like, I'm so sorry to hear that. I thought she was a really nice girl, but, you know, I couldn't even believe it. Same here, said Max. I mean, you guys had been together for about a year, and I thought maybe you two would, after you finished high school, maybe, well, if you were to go to college or something, or that you two would eventually settle down and start getting married over at some point. You know, I actually have thought about that myself, said Charlie. Really? Yeah, I was actually thought of that, but I'm glad I never did. Because, you know, it's hard to tell if she would even be serious enough to even to do that. I mean, I mean, what if I did end up marrying her at one point, and if she's still seeing Jonas or someone else? I mean, imagine if she tried to seduce Max and doing it, said Hannah. Hannah, that's not even funny, said Max. I would even go that far with someone, especially with someone's girlfriend or, well, fiance or anything. Yeah, makes sense though, but sorry, it's okay. I mean, we understand, said Charlie. After that, Charlie went home, and even though the Lillian tried to call him when he got home, she tried to beg him for a second chance. But he once again said, Lillian, lose my number, and I'm not intend to go back to be with you. It's clearly you didn't even love me at all. You only used me for your own personal gain or something. I don't want to be with you someone like you. I'm sorry. Then he hung out the phone call and blocked her number. Even at school for the next few days, she tried to talk to him. It was clearly that she still liked him. But after having his heart broken like this, especially find out that he has been cheating on him for 3 to 4 months with one of his friends, former friends, by the word, he couldn't believe it. So he just simply told her not to ever try it again. He could not believe what she did. Even though she tried to continue for the next 2 weeks to even just have a conversation with him, but if they were assigned for a school project or even as lab partners or something at school, that was the only time he really talked to her. But if she tried to talk to him about them being together again, he told her bluntly to say not to talk about it ever again and just focus on the subject they were working on. Nothing else. But eventually, she stopped. And he was glad that she eventually realized what she did was wrong. He did ask Max if he had heard anything about Lillian and Jonas being going out or something. Turned out they weren't even that. Well, at least Jonas did ask her, but she denied him or something. It turned out that she's still much in love with Charlie. But even though that Charlie himself didn't want to be with her ever again. But about 2 months after the breakup, Charlie decided he wanted to move on, and perhaps to try to find another girlfriend to be with. But then, Max actually suggests one particular girl that Charlie might like to be with. He was like, oh yeah, who could that be? Well, someone you know well. Who? Let me guess. You don't have any idea? No. Well, guess. Hmm. Wait. Are you talking about Hannah by any chance? Bingo. Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't even know if she likes me the same way back. Well, how do you not know if you don't ask her? Yeah, you might have it right about that, but I'm not sure. Well, I mean, it had been at least 2 months since the breakup. Are you sure you want to be with her and anyone else, though? Maybe you want to wait for another year. Um, not that long, but, well, I will think about it. And that same afternoon, he did ask her, and she was actually blushing when she said, even though that he was with Lillian at the time, she still had a very strong feelings for him. She was deeply in love with him. In fact, she was in fact in love with him even the first day when she met him. That was even before he met or even he started dating Lillian. He asked her why she didn't ask him or even tell them. She simply said that she was just too shy. And she was going to, but when she found out that he was dating Lillian, it broke her heart. She tried to move on and find someone else, but her feelings for him just remained. So they decided to go on a few dates just to see if there was any spark between them, just in case. And it didn't take long, for about maybe just about a month or so. They really realized they were meant to be. So they made it official. When Lillian found out that Charlie had moved on and started dating Hannah, well, at first she was a little bit upset about it. But eventually she realized it was no point. She really moved on. And both Hannah and Charlie remained together for the remaining time at the high school. After both finished high school, both chose not to go to college. Charlie wanted to work for his father's company, which was a car repair shop. And Hannah, well, she wanted to work at this particular store in town, which were a music store. She loved music. And after they had been dating for about another 2 more years, around when they were 21, they decided to get married. Because when he proposed to her, she was quite ecstatic, actually. And it was just a great, amazing time. They decided to have a small wedding, just for close friends and family. And they had just a good time, simply. Even though they wished that they could go to a big place like Hawaii or Paris for the honeymoon, they just simply went to a different state for the honeymoon at the hotel. And it was great though. After they had been married for about 2 years, they decided they wanted to start a family. And they realized after about a few months of been trying, they got the news. When they informed all their friends and families that they were expecting their first baby within the next few months. And in fact, they were expected a baby girl. They were just all so excited. They decided to name the daughter Amanda. And a few months later, Amanda was born, and both Charlie and Hannah was beyond happy to be parents. Another 3 more years later, Charlie and Hannah announced their second pregnancy, but then sadly something happened. When Hannah was only about 2 months pregnant, she lost a baby in an accident. She took it very hard. She was devastated because she learned that there was another girl. And even Charlie himself was also devastated. But Hannah was more and more devastated than ever. She barely left the bed almost no day at all. Even Amanda, the daughter, tried to cheer up her mother, but it barely worked anything. But with help from her friends and families, eventually Hannah moved on and passed off that. Another year later went on. Then they actually had another announcement. She was pregnant again. But she was very worried that she would lose this baby another time again. So every time when she was during her pregnancy, she was worried. Is she gonna lose the baby? But she didn't. In fact, she gave birth to a very healthy baby boy, which they named Kim. Kim was the most amazing though to them. Now they have both a boy and a girl. Even after all this, they both had named Max as their godfather. But during this time, Lillian had reached out to Hannah she's telling them that she is very happy to both having a family of their own. And it turned out during this time, During the time when they had Amanda, she was also having her first baby, a boy, which she named Robin. And even that it is might be the strangest part, but shortly after that, Hannah and Charlie announced their wedding. Lillian was actually invited. Even to most people were like, why did you even invite your ex to this wedding? Isn't it really awkward? Wouldn't she try to win you back or something? But when Lillian did arrive to the wedding, she wasn't alone. She actually even had her own boyfriend. She really had moved on, and she was just happy for both Hannah and Charlie. She even said to Charlie that she was just happy that they were dating for a while back in high school, but she really regretted her choice after doing this. But maybe it was fate of them not being together, but she learned from her mistake and make sure not to repeat it again. And now that she has her own husband and a boy named Robin, well, there's nothing much else to say about that except she's happy. Lillian and Charlie slowly rebuild their friendship, and Hannah herself actually even gave Lillian some advice of being the first time mother, because Hannah had her baby before Lillian had, so she could give her some advice, and eventually they became very close friends themselves. At first, even Max himself was like, Charlie, are you really sure this is a good idea? But after seeing how much Lillian actually had moved on, and in fact she was much dedicated to her new family, he had also accepted it. Even after all this, Charlie was just happy that Lillian had moved on and found someone else to be with. He was just happy to be her friend and have her back in his life as just a friend, nothing more. He was worried that she would try to steal him back or maybe cheat again, but it didn't happen. And this is how Charlie and Hannah found a true love, got a big family together. The end.